Well, folks, we have a lot of stuff to look forward to here in this video. Some updates on physical games and how many of them we could be looking forward to in the future on Nintendo Switch 2. No, not game key cards, actual physical games. Nintendo also openly discussed the fact that it appears they feel like they underestimated the demand for Nintendo Switch 2, but they had a good reason for why they were being conservative with that demand. We have some updates as well on some feature sets of the Nintendo Switch 2, and even two big games, one of them being from Nintendo, one being from a third party, having some exciting updates for us. So folks, before we dive into that, and as exciting as it is, I gotta remind you, we are giving away two Mario Kart World Nintendo Switch 2 bundles. That's right, the console and the game. We're giving away two of those bundles right now. All you have to do is go down to the pinned comment or the link in the description. I wish everybody luck. We'll draw the winner about 10 days before Nintendo Switch 2 comes out. That's coming up pretty quick here, guys. You know, we're what, 2 weeks from the end of the month? All right, let's go ahead and dive into this first story. And this deals with Nintendo underestimating demand for Switch 2. So we're over at Video Gamer here, where it says Nintendo underestimates massive Switch 2 demand due to the console's high price. As we scroll down here, it says the Nintendo Switch 2 is expected to be the biggest console launch of all time, with Nintendo now expecting the new handheld to outsell the original's first year within its 3-month release window. Nintendo has already admitted that it has massively underestimated the demand for the Nintendo Switch 2, but now company president Shintaro Furukawa has explained why. Simply put, the console's high price was expected to be a bigger issue for potential customers. So, in the company's latest earnings call via VGC, Furukawa explained that the console's high price of 395.99 euros, pounds there, and then 449 US, posed a challenge to early adoption. However, the company has since found that the hype for the upcoming handheld has outpaced its expectations. Here's a quote: Nintendo Switch 2 is priced relatively high compared to the Nintendo Switch. So, we recognize that there are corresponding challenges to early adoption, Furukawa explained. That being said, Nintendo Switch 2 can play compatible Nintendo Switch software, so there's continuity between the platforms. Furukawa added that the addition of the console's Mario Kart World bundle was an initial plan to offset the challenge of the console's high price. The president explained that the bundle was devised to accelerate adoption in the first fiscal year, aiming to get off with the same start we did with Nintendo Switch. While the constantly fluctuating U.S. tariff situation has caused unexpected issues for the company, Nintendo explained that the financial issue or a possibility of a recession did not affect their sales forecast for the console. In response to the demand, the company is rapidly increasing production capabilities. Again, Nintendo's not moving off of their 15 million projection, but it's kind of interesting to see that they really did not understand or fully grasp what was going on here with the demand for the system, because they did think it was priced quite expensive. They're openly admitting that. They're not denying it. And they're just noting, hey, with it being so damn expensive, we do think that adoption is going to be slower. And right now, it feels like they think they were wrong about that. I guess we'll see when sales data comes out. Now, when we get to this next story here, this is one of those stories that is probably good news, but needs some explanation. So as we go over here, Wario64 has Hogwarts Legacy on Switch 2. Upgrade is $10 if you own the Switch 1 version, which is on sale for $17.99 in the eShop. Or we have for $15 if you buy like the digital deluxe version, so you have like the DLC one. So the Switch 1 is $17.99, Switch 2 $10 upgrade offer after buying the Switch 1 version. The physical game key card is $59.99. Now, this to me is mostly a really good story for Hogwarts Legacy. WB definitely could have just charged us full price for the new game, regardless if you already owned it on Switch. But some people are out there arguing, well, this is just an upgraded version of the game. Why are they charging at all? Right? Why are they doing any sort of upcharge? And this is where the context comes in. Unlike Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, those games that are charging for upgrades, unlike those games, this is actually an entirely new version of the game. If you've been paying attention to the developer interviews, they did not port the Switch 1 version to Switch 2. Instead, they ported a modern day version like PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S, etc., over to Nintendo Switch 2, meaning this is an entirely new version of the game. So you can't just download like an upgrade pack. That's not what it is. You'd have to re-download the whole game. That's the difference here in this particular situation. Hogwarts Legacy does not have an upgrade pack, you're just able to purchase the Switch 2 game for $10. Again, it's not an upgrade pack. It's not some patch to the Switch 1 version. It's an entirely new version of the game. That's what makes this highly unique, and ultimately, I feel like a really, really good deal, especially because considering you can get, $30 now if you want to buy it completely brand new and didn't already own Hogwarts Legacy. It's also really exciting for me. I don't have to buy that game key card or anything like that. I already have the digital version. I can just get my upgrade on Switch 2. Now, when we talk about physical games, there's a lot of controversy around the physical aspect of games. And we covered a story not too long ago about how something coming from Limited Run had a physical copy for all other versions except on the Nintendo Switch 2, where that version was a game key card. So people were like, man, is Limited Run Games just going to use game key cards for everything? And as we found out at PAX East, which I was at and heard this for myself as well, no, actually, there will be physical games for Switch 2 coming from Limited Run Games. So news, Limited Run clears the air on Switch 2 physical games. So during an interview at PAX East with the team at Limited Run, we were able to clear the air about some questions floating around the internet about physical games for Nintendo Switch 2. As you may know, the gaming community was up in arms since Nintendo showcased the Switch 2. It seems they are setting their sights more favorably on the digital space with game keycards. Now here's a fact. Nintendo Switch 2 cartridges may or may not contain the full game. Some referred to as game keycards will not contain the full game data. Instead, the game keycard acts as a key to download the game via the internet. The game keycard must remain on your system in order for you to be able to play the game. We are seeing several titles slated for Switch 2 release listed as game keycard only, frustrating many players who value true physical games. Some are looking for pro physical publishers, and of course, who wouldn't think of Limited Run? Their slogan, after all, is forever physical. All right. When speaking with their marketing representative at PAX East 2025, they confirmed that any Limited Run numbered release for Switch 2 will contain the full game on the cartridge, aka a true physical release. Games released as a partnership and therefore not a numbered release may be published as a game keycard, leaving the decision to the third party. The statement indicates that Limited Run is still dedicated to their forever physical motto while allowing options for third parties if they want to go with the game keycard, which, mind you, is cheaper to produce in a time where prices and taxes are increasing. Now, here's my thing about this, and again, they told me the exact same thing when I was there, and I didn't really want to run a headline on it, but now that people are talking about it, I figured we'll bring it up. My whole thing is, yes, their slogan is forever physical, which to me means if you're working with a company and they're telling you, hey, we want to do this physical collector's edition, but we want to use a game key card, goes against your slogan. So I would just tell them, no, we either do a full physical release or we don't do this at all. Yes, Limited Run has the ability to say no. They could just say no. They are the ones creating this bundle. They can tell them, no, it's full physical or we don't work with you. But, we all know what's going on. All right, let's go ahead now and get into, some new features of the hardware of Nintendo Switch 2. What? Yeah, it's turning out that the GPU for the Nintendo Switch 2 isn't just, you can't just be like, oh, it's an Ampere, it's a downclock 2050 on a laptop. No, this is actually a type of chip we've never seen before. So this comes over from Universal Nintendo. It is a rumor, of course. The system's not out to fully confirm all of this, but Switch 2 hardware may feature features ported from NVIDIA's latest modern architecture. All right, so what on here says, it is already known that Nintendo Switch 2 comes equipped with an SoC produced by NVIDIA, the T239, and that it is based on much of the Ampere architecture. However, in the most recent episode of Digital Foundry Weekly, a program that is broadcast by Digital Foundry on its YouTube channel, a rumor was mentioned in which NVIDIA worked on adapting 2 features of the Ada Lovelace architecture, which is actually, a few generations ahead of the architecture of Ampere. Anyways, for the chipset present in Nintendo's new console, Media Block and Power Gate. Before we explain both features, here's what the benefits are. So Media Block, what is it? An updated component on the chip coming from the Ada Lovelace architecture responsible for processing videos and streaming. The benefits here: it supports modern formats such as the AV1 codec, allowing high quality video playback. Yes, Ampere didn't support AV1, so that's really important. And processes media faster and more efficiently, which saves on power, essential for portable console like the Nintendo Switch 2. And then PowerGate, a true management feature also brought over from Ada Lovelace that turns off power consumption from unused parts of the chip. The benefits here are obviously reduced power consumption, increasing battery life, and maintains performance without compromise, making the Nintendo Switch 2 more efficient for gaming and other tasks. If this is made official, the two additions put the Nintendo Switch 2 in more of a modern position compared to what the Ampere architecture could offer without them, especially when it comes to smarter power consumption for a device that is mostly sold portably. So that is really interesting. Obviously, there could be other Ada Lovelace features going on as well that we have yet to discover or know about. We did see in the die shot that it does look like the GPUs are organized in an Ada Lovelace way. It could be specifically for these features. There could also be some additional Ada Lovelace features that we're unaware of. It does look like this is more of a hybrid GPU and not just a straight, oh, it's just an Ampere off-the-shelf downclocked, or no, it's actually something else. Now, we have to get to this next story because Nintendo dropped this thing on Nintendo Today yesterday that is just kind of interesting. To something they've never done before. They're including a ability to extend the life of your battery by not allowing you to charge it to 100%. So as Open Dome says here, you can set the console to stop charging when it reaches approximately 90% battery. Doing so helps extend your battery's lifespan. Batteries gradually lose charge, their capacity over time. That is absolutely true. There's a similar feature found in a lot of modern smartphones that won't let you charge to 100%, or when you get to the last 10%, the charge is so slow going all the way up to 100. Again, it will lower the amount of battery available, but it will also increase, the actual length or life of the battery, basically, so you don't have to worry about replacing it. Look, this is a high power draw device compared to what the Nintendo Switch is, so Nintendo's obviously worrying about this. They're showing it charging here, and obviously it'll stop when it hits 90%. The idea is obviously to make your battery last longer, and it's a very common feature. Again, a lot of smartphones already use it. Some phones will have you charge to 100%, but that's actually not 100% battery capacity, so it'll say 100% on your phone. There's actually a little headroom above that, but it just doesn't let you charge into that, again, to allow you to have that headroom. Another thing that happened today, I'm sure you guys are aware, is the GameCube Controller became available. And for some of us, it's been a little bit of a frustrating experience. First off, there's a line. I'll show you the line in a moment, because look, this is what happens for me. I am logged in. Everything's all good. I am an NSO member. I am the head of the NSO family membership. And it says item limit reached, and yet I didn't buy one. Does this mean it's sold out? I don't know, but I literally have not purchased one. And frustrating for me. I know a lot of people on our Discord server were able to successfully purchase one. So it's more of a me problem. But if I sit here and I refresh this, you'll see this is like the wait line that comes up. So a lot of you guys saw this page today, but it doesn't matter. I get through and it says I've already bought it or I've already reached the limit, which I haven't bought one. So more of a personal frustration for me, but still it's out there. Maybe they're still being sold. Maybe there's something wrong with my account. I don't know. What I do know we have to get into, though, is some actual video game news. Oh, baby, what are we talking about? Well, we are talking about this. That's right. There was a brand new thing dropped today by Gearbox. And look, we all know Borderlands 4 is coming. I'm kind of surprised the creator's voice exists for this particular game, given we don't have a release date. But in it, Randy Pritchford, the founder of, the guy who runs Gearbox and the founder of the Borderlands series, had this to say about Nintendo Switch 2.
The Borderlands together.
The Nintendo Switch 2 has been a joy to work with. It's very powerful. It's an incredible machine in a very tight form factor. And we love being on the bleeding edge with our graphics and the experience that we're creating. And the Nintendo Switch 2 makes all that possible. We don't feel like we're fighting the system. We feel like the system's enabling us and empowering us to make the best version of Borderlands 4 we can. As a game developer, it's awesome. We are taking some leaps with Borderlands 4. It is familiar if you've ever played a Borderlands game before, but it's the first time we're in a seamless world, a massive world.
So there you go, Randy Pritchford coming through and saying things like, guess what? This game is being enabled by Switch 2, not held back by Switch 2, and obviously saying that it's a very powerful, compact device. This goes along with a lot of the opinions out there that Nintendo has done a fantastic job building a system that developers actually want to make games for, and that goes a long way into that. And one thing I wanted to do at the end of this video is give a shout out to Andres Restart, who's been doing some incredible individual game coverage and theorizing over on his channel. He caught some wind of a story based on a theory he had that someone helped confirm for him today. And so we're going to go ahead and pop over to his video. It deals with Mario Kart World, and in this there's a section I want to play for you that contains some very interesting and brand new information about Mario Kart World. Let's full screen his video and take a listen to what Andres Restart has discovered.
But there were some things I pointed out, including binoculars that we've seen throughout the map of Mario Kart World, and I speculated that maybe, like in the different 3D Mario games where you can use them to look around the environment, and Dean9472 in the comments actually provided proof of this, which I was asking for. Thank you for providing proof of this. And this footage actually shows more than that, but yes, you can get into binoculars that are scattered all throughout the open world of Mario Kart, and you jump into them and you can look around the environment from high up and scan around for varying points of interest so you can figure out where you may want to go next or look for different clues and secrets throughout the environment. But this footage also shows off some other cool things. So there's also a segment where we see they are running around the open world, but in an area that's less explored. And you can actually jump in to the warp pipes, and it transports you to elsewhere. So we now also have confirmation, not just binoculars are accessible, but these warp pipes that we see all throughout the environment, they're not just there for show either. They are actually portals to other parts of the map. And so I think these are cool things to consider because it shows that the map of Mario Kart World isn't just a static environment with some things to collect. There are things that you can indeed interact with throughout this world, and perhaps there are more. Now, something else I'll point out, we do appear to see what happens when you reach the border of the map. Lakitu just pulls you back. Although in this version, they were waiting for a match, so it might work differently during typical, normal free roam mode. It's still up for debate.
All right, so as you see there, yeah, some new discoveries in Mario Kart World, in particular, some stuff for the open world segment. I'm willing to bet there's a lot of undiscovered things in the open world free roam stuff that we're just gonna have to find for ourselves. I've got a feeling this game is just jam-packed with content. And look, with such limited demo play sessions, like 10, 15 minutes, I think some people were saying there was like only 5 minutes to run around in free roam mode, that yeah, it's one of those things that were intentionally being limited to not discover everything before the game comes out. So we'll have to obviously wait and see on launch day and beyond. It might take several weeks before things are truly fully discovered in Mario Kart World. But I am excited by the prospect of, hey, they talked about a few things. Andres Restart does actually have another video where he theorizes on some missions and stuff like this that could be completely different in Mario Kart World that could really flesh it out. But again, we don't know everything because we don't have the game and it hasn't released yet. But guess what, folks? We're getting really close. Isn't it like 23 days? I could be wrong. I should check that Paul Gale countdown thing. It might be like 20-something days away. Anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Feels good to be back from PAX East. We're back, baby. And yes, we will be live streaming tonight. So I will catch you guys on live tonight. You guys are awesome, epic, amazing, and one of a kind. And I'll catch you in the next one.